Genmu Senki Leda, or the English title, Fantastic Adventure of Yoko Leda, has an odd history with me. I got to see this anime in recent years, 6 years ago I believe, but I'm familiar with it for over 20 years because of this book. This art book novelization of the story has been in my house for as long as I can remember. I think it belonged to my dad, and for like a couple of years in the early 90s, I was captivated by it, fanboying over the gorgeous art and character designs, imagining how amazing this anime is. I mean, who wouldn't be interested when checking out this book? Everything looks so pretty, and Hideyuki Kikuchi wrote the novelization, the writer of the Vampire Hunter D series. I didn't bother to look for the anime though. It wasn't that important apparently, but it was always on the back of my mind. But in 2012 or 13, I saw the Italian DVD in the video store I always go to, laying around collecting dust. At first I didn't know what it was until I saw the back cover, and my childhood came back to me instantly. And when I saw that a Japanese audio track is present, I immediately bought it. Did it reach the high expectations that I always wondered? In some ways, yes. So this is an anime film made by Studio Kaname Production in 1985. It was directed by Kunihiko Yuyama, and he is a good director that made a lot of classics for me like Flores Sanshiro, Minky Momo, Slayer's Wedding Peach, and most of the Pokemon movies. Art and character designs were made by Mutsumi Inomata, who I mentioned her before on my Wuthering Continent review. She is the brainchild for the Art of the Tales series, and if that's not assuring for having a great looking anime, then I don't know what to tell you. The music is composed by Shiro Seigisu, who at the time was his second work. The volleyball anime Attack Ryu was his first in 1984. He became a legendary composer because his resume is staggering with classics: iCity, Megazone 2-3, Nadia, Orange Road, and most notably today, the Evangelion series. This team is bound to make something special, and they did. Before I move on to the plot, I always wondered why this anime has more than one title. In the anime, it is just Genmu Senki Leda, which means Leda, the War of the Dreams. But the art book says at the bottom, Fantastic Adventure of Yoko. But at the top, it is the original title, Genmu Senki Leda. And at the back, it is Fantastic Adventure Yoko Leda. And the stupid English Wikipedia, it is Leda, the Fantastic Adventure of Yoko. Can they just stick with the title that came up in the actual anime? Leda, the War of the Dreams sounds so much better, and it fits the story and how it is perceived very well. The story is about a high school girl named Yoko, and it starts with her playing a piano piece dedicated to the love of her life that she has not confessed to yet. So one day, while she was jogging, runs past him because she refuses to declare her love for him, and out of nowhere, she gets sucked into another world, and the main antagonist, Zell, was responsible, and now we have our story. You see, Zell wants the heart of Leda, the power of a legendary goddess that will grant him the ability to access different worlds, including the world Noah, which is our normal, boring world. Going back to Yoko, she wakes up and she sees herself into this magical world called Ashante. She meets new companions while discovering her main purpose. You see, Leda chose Yoko to defend the misuse of her powers, and that made Yoko transform into this fierce warrior, magical girl style that has a strong Valis vibe to it. Awesome! I love this anime. It's one of those stories that aren't deep, but the execution is superb. And yes, it is the transported to another world subgenre. And I'm a huge fan of this kind of storytelling, when opposite perspectives collide and we see the character from our world deal with something so alien to us. Power of Leda is chased by both the good and the bad side, each for different reasons, one for making the world better and one for pure domination. This dynamic works well because you can access that power the same way, either for good or evil, through the purity of the heart. And the spirit of Leda is harbored by Yoko, and thus her love is the driving force of the story, and that is not a metaphor. It is literally the force that will determine the fate of the two worlds. Ashante is beautiful, unique, yet familiar at the same time. It gives you that fantastical feeling, and the integration of robots is the icing on the cake for making this world unique. And before I know it, I got sucked into this world. There are things I didn't like though, and that I wish there is more to see in Ashante. We didn't see towns or cities as the story went by really fast. Even the final battle was quick, and I think it is fixable if the movie was 20 minutes longer, having scenes where the characters just hang out in the world, a little downtime, and doing a bit more exploration. Thankfully, everything else in this anime is perfect in my book, including the characters, and there are 4 main ones in the story. First, we have the protagonist Yoko. The fact that she is a piano player made me love her instantly. Her development is done very well, from a typical high school girl to a brave warrior, and it all seemed seamless. There are 2 supporting characters, and they are Ringam the talking dog, who instantly gave me Sherlock Hound vibes, and Yoni the Leda Shrine Maiden. Both provides Yoko and the viewer insight on what is going on in the world while making Yoko more lovable. This trio has loads of optimism, which made this anime a feel-good watch. Lastly, we have the main villain Zell, who is not a complex villain, but my favorite voice actor Shuichi Akida voiced him, so he immediately became interesting. This voice actor can talk about toilet paper and make it sound important. He doesn't understand the concept of love. He thinks it is a materialistic thing that if you just give it to somebody, they will be happy. And when he first appeared, it all became clear to me that the art and design for this anime will be something special. If you are familiar with this channel, you will know that this anime's art is my cup of tea. It is my default taste when it comes to anime, and the amount of work from the team is unreal that I can't help but think of the art book that I have. It is so polished and colorful while retaining the organic feel of hand-drawn animation. The backgrounds of the creatures are all handled with care. Character and custom designs hit home with me, as it does have the soul of the Tale series. Zell looks like a character illustrated by Mr. Amano, and easily my favorite design in this anime. The mechanical designs fit the fantasy setting, as they are not too futuristic, something Escaflowne used years later. And thankfully, the animation complemented the art, as it is high in quality. Everything looks fluid, and thus this anime is a technical showcase when it comes to production, and it doesn't hold back at all. Everything feels like eye candy, and part of it is the quality of this DVD. The picture quality is top notch. Knowing the composer, expect classical music and electronic sounds mixed together, and it delivers. The soundtrack is terrific to listen to, and it is very catchy. I love every track in this anime, and it fits the mood, the genre, and the setting. Same thing goes with the songs played by Ryo Akimoto. None of them felt out of place, and they are good songs on their own. Spoiler time, so skip this part if you don't want to be spoiled. So, it really feels like it is an exaggeration of Yoko's imagination, which makes me think this is all a dream in a way, Alice in Wonderland storytelling, as the plot focuses on her trying to confront her fears, which is confessing her love, and the story is all about that. The cassette player has the melody she composed that is dedicated to that love, and that player has the Leda energy the villains want, so they took it, as if the evil side represents her fears. Zell tells her that the reason she is here is that she wants to escape her world. Another way of saying not confronting her fears, and by the end she prevails when she becomes proud of that love and knowing what it really means. So what happens by the end? She goes back exactly where she disappeared when she was jogging at the beginning of the story. Same place and time. That is why the title Leda, the War of the Dreams fits the story very well. Or maybe I'm wrong and I'm just overthinking all of this. I should have kept it simple. Before the title even appeared, which is the first 5 minutes, the anime showcased that it has an interesting plot, good music, art, and animation. It got me hooked as if I read a compelling opening line from a great book. It is hands down one of the better looking 80s anime, and the level of charm makes me relax with a huge smile on my face. I got this cathartic feeling when I watched it for the first time. Having that art book for so many years made this anime feel so nostalgic to me even though I didn't watch it in the 80s or 90s. Yoko got transported to another world and I was transported into my childhood. That's how much I love this anime.